on the troll.
Hello and welcome to Mzansi. We're back again. It's that time of the night where we have to deliberate on what happened in that court. And there are a lot of things that happened, and there are a lot of things that you have to look at, and there are many directions that you have to look at. First of all, before we even start, I would like to say categorically, without fear or favor, and it is my opinion, the judgment was already made. There is nothing that you can do that can change the judgment. But calling of Warrant Officer Makhubo, which initially looked all over because of the disturbance of a judge and Mr. Baloyi. If you ask me, my own observation, I saw a good collaboration between a judge and Mr. Baloyi. Hence, that made me draw this conclusion of saying that the judgment is made. Whether you like it or not, the judgment is made. I don't care what you say. And tomorrow, what you are going to be seeing is a lot of disturbance in terms of heads of arguments. What you were seeing today is the judge sort of agreeing without saying, I'm agreeing with you, Baloyi. You were seeing, he was asking question, was it put to so and so that this is the case? And perhaps you're getting a glimpse of how this case, in terms of judgment overall, is going to go.
At some point, he was even asking about the red polo, the red car. He says that Mr. Sibia said that there was a red car. Then there were 13 people, and then there was 8 plus 5 people that were there. All of them arresting him. Like, okay.
It was not just a person who's asking because he did not understand. It was someone who was just filling the missing words for Baloyi. Giving Baloyi the missing words, and then giving the clues, and then say this, say that, say that. It was a guided submission, if you ask me. And we shouldn't take it lightly. It is going to the main trial. This doesn't sound like a judge that says that this case is all bogus, if you ask me. But this is a judge that is willing to work with what they have and eventually maybe get a conviction.
And I, to my surprise, I was even surprised he mentioned the red polo and the arresting by 13 police officers. And I thought to myself, weren't you the one who was debunking the story about the girlfriend, saying that you don't see how it is helping prove the admissibility of the confessions? Now when it suits you, you want to include that the red car. You want it to be proven as a matter of fact that the red car was there, and that 13 police officers made the arrest.
Yes.
But how is that helping with the confession? You want it to be debunked so that it's made to seem like it's a lie, that accused number 1 said that he was arrested in a hostile manner, and then you cannot also deny the arrest, the questionable arrest. You had police officers testifying to a tactical takedown. So now you want to diminish that to say that the arrest was not as extreme just because it will support the state's case. But when it comes to the mentioning of the girlfriends, you don't see any relevance.
And very interestingly, in his heads of arguments, Baloyi is admitting now, without many words, is admitting that Ndanzi did not bath, and is using that as the gospel truth. Isn't that a form of torture?
It is.
And if we are in a court that listens carefully, then those things should have been considered. But I'm telling you, none of those things are going to work in Danzi's favor.
His focus is clearly somewhere else.
Because that submission was made so that it can qualify the statement that was made in Cronier's office. That is the only reason. And the sarcastic way of dismissing Warrant Officer Makhubo, and I'm still coming there, and I will tell you, obvious, the direction of the line of questioning there with Warrant Officer Makhubo was not going to assist with the trial within a trial, and I'm thinking in my mind it was done on purpose. It was done to say we want you on our side. We want you to help us in the main trial. It was never about the trial within a trial. It was never going to collapse a trial within a trial.
But however it was, had all of them agreed, Lishaban especially.
Yes.
It was.
The manner in which they all of a sudden run around and say Lishabane is going to be called. This is the same person who was calling evidence of Lishabane, as he says, in a main trial.
And now he's saying
that he's going to make him his witness.
This is a trial within a trial. He's not a witness for the trial within a trial.
And what is interesting is that they are saying we might. So if they don't call Lishabane, for example, and it leads up to a point where Makhubo testifies. Now they would have to create a case. They would have to now put things together at a later stage, which disturbs the case.
Then
that makes me
statements
that
were
makes
typed in 2024.
Yes, that makes me question.
Brace yourselves.
That makes me question that theory of saying that a case is not a chess game. Baloyi there was supposed to say, if you ask me, I am going to call this person.
Yes.
And that person is supposed to
within a trial.
No. Forget about the trial within a trial, because the state is set. From what I'm hearing, let us admit there are laws. These laws, some of them are bogus. They don't make sense. In a perfect world, a trial within a trial was supposed to be separated from the main trial.
It's separated when the defense have to do something that links to the main trial. However, when the state is suggesting things,
it seems as if in South Africa like it's not separated. They just accept that.
Okay.
It's one thing. Once a state says, I'm going to call this person, it becomes, they are privileged. They will actually be put at the forefront. There is no way. If they say, we're going to call you to come, we're going to subpoena even if you don't want to come. The judge was even emphasizing on that. You know what the state can do if the witness does not want to come. So it seems as if Lishabane is no longer, or is not playing the same game that we are seeing being played in that court.
Do you think so?
Yes, because his calling was mainly for today, if you ask me, was mainly to destabilize what Makhubo was going to say. And it did. For the portion of this trial within a trial, it did. So during the weekend, as the judge was insisting as to who are those people that we are going to call, eventually they got a chance of putting their plan together. And they said, okay, if we remove this from that group, then we're done.
They're assembling the chess pieces.
Yeah, and then they destabilized the whole scuffle. And they did. We must give them kudos that they did.
They did.
And the judge made it easier because he asked them, who are you going to bring? Be specific.
That be specific. That tell me who you're going to bring, that one.
What we are realizing is that the state can surprise you, but the defense cannot surprise.
Not on the list.
They cannot do that.
They can. The defense can't do that.
They must put their cards on the table.
They must announce
because
in
of
advance
that
we are having witnesses and their names are so and so and so.
because of that case of Rob versus Hepworth.
Yeah.
The chess games are being played here, if you ask me. The very same chess game that the judge was reprimanding people on. It's being played by the state.
And him as well.
And his part, if you ask me, in my own opinion, the judge looks more the part of the team. Such that he trusts the police when he wishes to do so, when they are coming with the state. When you are coming from a different dimension, he will debunk you, even laugh. Yes. He laughed at Warrant Officer Makhubo when he said about 40 people that were there.
I don't understand what's so funny about that.
He laughed at it.
I don't understand the joke.
That's a joke. That's a sign that I don't believe you. You know, you cannot even hide it. And the funny thing is that with this judge, and I will tell you, he's behaving like a grade 1 kid. If he does not like things, he does not keep it to himself. He will show you with the signs and the gesture and everything. He's sarcastic. He's very sarcastic.
Yeah, he is.
They were laughing with Baloyi when Baloyi was submitting, and even talked about what Makhubo was saying. They were laughing.
Kiki.
And that tells you that's a judge who's not, for me, that's a judge who's not professional. For someone who says, I'm fighting, I've been on this bench for you cannot accuse me of that. It's funny. It's very funny that we are in this situation. And I don't care what your Mlambo are saying about this man. This man does not look anything as a person who's not biased, if you ask me. And I'm sure I'm not the only one. This is my own opinion. As a person who's sitting here, obviously I don't hold a degree in law, but all I'm saying is that he does not look as a person who's genuinely not biased. He looks like a person who's here for one mandate, and that is to convict in this trial. But the play, at least then we know now that Warrant Officer Makhubo is not going to be called or subpoenaed. They were capable of doing that if you are holding the cards, as I'm hearing the defense saying, we're going to call this person in a trial. It was actually going to be a mess because Baloyi was going to subpoena Warrant Officer Makhubo to actually come and bring him and show that he's not credible while he's in his corner.
He was. It looks like maybe that's even the urgency that made Mgomezulu kind of summon him now, because the potential was there for the state to actually take ownership of Warrant Officer Makhubo as their witness, just so they can debunk everything that he's saying.
No, the man is not acting professional.
No, he's not.
He's not.
Far from it.
He's far from acting as a professional person. I'm telling you, I can bet you money. He's going to accept that.
Yeah, he is.
With the submission from Baloyi saying that this man was denied time to bath, which is a form of torture, if you ask me.
He will still accept it.
He will still accept it. Baloyi uses it as a case. In fact, he's even quoting where would the magistrate Konya got this, but isn't what you are using now, wasn't it debunked?
He debunked it. The state debunked it.
Wasn't it debunked? How are you able to use it
now
as the truth now, as a reference of truth? Why are you using it?
Just to prove that Miss Grenier didn't make things up as she was sitting there, the way accused number 2 was narrating that.
Do you understand?
He was writing and looking at a laptop. No one was saying anything.
Any proper sane judge was going to ask that question. But Mr. Baloyi, you are saying now 1, 2, 3. Are you now accepting that this person did not bath?
He is accepting it. And why didn't the judge ask him?
No, you never asked that because he's excited about the submissions. He's even helping, filling the missing words.
Guiding him, giving him a study guide, a scope. You know how lecturers would give you a scope while you're about to write an exam? That's literally what he's doing with Advocate Baloyi. Even giving him cases that he can reference. He's been hinting them the whole day.
So it's very funny. You'll see the treatment tomorrow.
They were very hostile.
You
As soon
should
as
expect a
Mngomezulu
very
gets up,
hostile
it
treatment.
will be very hostile.
A very
They're not
disturbed
gonna argue in
submissions.
peace. No.
And I can tell you now, a case of 1956 is already prepared to debunk some of the heads of arguments because they were submitted beforehand. Obviously, everything has been submitted. It is.
They prepared. They're like, okay, I'm going to use this case to debunk. Remember, he has a dictionary of cases in his head. So he knows.
That,
he knows that I'm going to use this case to debunk this point. This one to debunk this point. And this one to debunk this point. Be ready for that. Our prosecutor judge will be armed and ready.
Hence, our cry is that one judge can never be, in most cases, be partial.
Yeah, this is an example.
This is a classical example that one judge can never be partial.
No.
We need a bench of people sitting there.
There's a clip I watched where a man from the States was saying that he was part of a jury and they had a problem with him being a part of that jury. It's a short. And he was talking about how they said that they will take
I never understand.
witnesses.
How hell is always defending the judge. I know maybe he's a lawyer. What we are submitting here, it does not need law. What we are submitting here is what you see.
Sense.
Common sense. It's what you observe when you are watching a TV. A judge is shown there, unlike the people that are hiding their faces. The judge, you can see.
Not showing the people that are testifying is that most of the time the camera will be on the judge and his body expression and
it's not about the judge and if
how
you submit
he's expressing things and how he chooses
if you
to
submit
speak.
these things and you are saying you must not blindly judge, there are loopholes in a defense side. Okay, yes, there are
loopholes in the state side as well.
Should these people go down? Isn't it that case of rope and whatnot supposed to cater for this, and the judge is supposed to correct these things and make sure that the justice prevail rather than the chess game? Who made the move? Who made the proper move? Isn't law is not supposed to be that, because there are other parties other than the lawyers showing their education. Law is not supposed to be like that. That's why you are allowed, even if you are not part of the defense of the accused number one and number two, to partake and participate in that process, in clarifying issues. Because law is supposed to be as clear as it's supposed to be. Be fair on people that I understand, more than it is supposed to be fair on the lawyers and whatnot. Law is not about the lawyers. Law is about the people that are accused. And that's what law is supposed to be. Supposed to look at people that are accused and the public. Unless you are saying otherwise, unless you are saying now it's a matter of scoring points, you want to see who did well with the help of who, it's okay, it's fine. We will not blame the judge. But then the judge must stop quoting some of the cases that are seemingly saying that it should be as we are submitting to you now. Then we will be fine with it. We never knew that case. It came with the judge. Hence, he's been using it to correct some of the things that are inverted commas wrong.
Like I was saying.
So I don't get this thing. We must not blame a judge. The judge is.
No, but you can see.
What is that? What is that case of Rob versus or something? What is that case? Why are we even using that case in court?
We're only using it when the state is cornered. We do not use it when the defense
when the state wants
attacked.
to come and submit something, sneak something very quickly. We cannot just. We must always consider that the case is not. A judge is not. Yes, the judge is not a referee who's supposed to keep quiet and just referee when something is wrong. A judge is supposed to participate to make sure that law is seemingly correct and is done correct. That's what that thing is saying. And let us have that. Can we have that? All we are crying for, can we have that both ways?
Practice it both ways.
Can we have that both ways?
It would be refreshing. It would be refreshing.
Can we have people practicing proper stuff? So that people who are standing there, same Same as the judge in KZN. That judge who saw through this bull and was like, kick this thing out of my court.
Oh, when a person was taken to go and
confess, yes,
to the murder of Senzo.
And that's a classical example, by the way, if you ask me. That's a classical example of what Warrant Officer Makhubo was talking about, where you either confess, you use that person who's what you call those ones that they've been using, your cronies and whatnot, or you go confess in court,
justice of peace,
or you go just confess in court straight. I think that person did that, and that's when he was kicked out.
Yes, that was very interesting. You know how he detailed the whole confession process. It made sense to me.
How the KZN case was kicked out.
It made sense to me that you need to confess before the magistrate in the court. Now, how it was done with accused number 2 is very dodge. Like, it's a dodge.
We can have a judge that seemingly insinuates that Ntanzi, because he spoke 1 or 2 words, he is actually a good English speaker. And that thing is done on purpose. And you tell me we should not blame the judge because of the judge is doing those things on purpose so that when he gives judgment, he references all those things. He's leaving hints that actually you can speak English.
You haven't been seen that the entire trial, that's what he does. You still haven't caught on that all of these cases that are being hinted at are clues for the state. Haven't you realized that yet? Why are you shocked? Why are you shocked at what we are saying?
You can blame the defense all you want, but at any given point in time, even those who played soccer, they would understand if the referee is not with you or if the referee is not honest, you suffer.
Yes.
To win that game, that means you have you remember, sport is a sport. Soccer is more of a contact sport. So that means you must not touch anyone.
You touch, it's a yellow card.
You touch, it's a yellow card.
They fall, it's a red card. It doesn't matter whether you push them or not.
Today, Emil, Pirate was playing against Spurs.
Yes.
They drew that game 1-1.
Okay.
Towards the end, referee close to the box. And I'm not complaining, I'm just making a classical example. Lepasa is kicked. Directly kick, because the guy did not see whether Lepasa was coming or not. So he was kicking the ball, and then Lepasa put himself in front of the ball, between the ball and the man. And obviously the man kicked Lepasa, and that's a penalty. You go to Europe with VAR, that's a penalty. The referee is standing direct and is watching that. He didn't give that penalty. And I'm telling you, you watch on Monday Soccer Zone, the guys who analyze, they'll come, the referees, they will come and tell you that's a penalty. Whether you were intending or not, and whether Pirate was playing, whether Pirate was playing gag football, and I admit Pirate was playing gag football, they didn't deserve to win. But does that now warranty me to say that even that penalty they were not supposed to get because they were not playing? Same goes to defense. They might at some point look out of place, look unprepared because of the time maybe, or because of something. But if you ask me, initially Mngomezulu had those things that made him look less prepared, more so when they threw him off guard by these objections. It's okay. We are here to make sure that justice is done, and it seems so. To me, where I'm standing, it doesn't seem like that. Seems as if we are here to just find one thing. The fact that this case is still going on at this point in time, after so many things that have been debunked, that were used as things of importance, but we're still here.
We're still here.
It shows you are playing a chess game. We're just waiting for one to be correct, and then boom, these people go down. And people are saying we are happy the AKA people who have been caught, but I'm seeing the same thing. I'm seeing the same thing.
We are prophets of doom.
I'm seeing the same thing. I'm seeing the same thing.
But there's the pattern. The pattern is...
People are fighting in the taxis. People involve police. If you ask me...
We're not saying they're innocent. Because people have a tendency
of... No, we're not saying they're innocent.
Of protecting incubbies and whatnot. No, that's not what we're saying.
Yeah. But we are saying catch them for the case they did and put them there. So that you do not leave anyone behind who's supposed to go into jail just because you wanted to catch those ones for whatever they did that you couldn't catch them for.
Before.
Then now you say, okay, I will use this one to catch this one. By so doing, you are still leaving the perpetrators of the current one. And to me, if you ask me, it doesn't make sense. We have arrested the group of people coming from the taxi industry, fighting for their own things. Recently, there's an incident that happened. I think here it was in Joburg. Yes. Yes. It's they are saying it's what we call it. It's Zonke Zizwe and the Faraday.
They were fighting in broad day.
Do you understand? And then all of a sudden,
people,
someone obviously uses certain people that have more power. If you ask me, that's my opinion. All I'm trying to say, we cannot work like that, where we use a blanket approach. Just because at some point I happen to take a glass of water that belonged to someone, now if something happens and one wants to close loopholes or fire someone in the company, they didn't fire me at the time, they must use this one to fire me.
That in itself is abuse of the justice system. And it also makes the people that keep getting away with it even more feared, even more powerful.
So as long as you can do as you please. As long as you are on the other side, you are protected. Because anyone that touches you, the mighty and our tax money will go after that person for no cause, actually. That warrant is the person to go after that person, because this is not touching the public. This is between two people. But because maybe these people are on this side, it's okay. It's fine. They are protected. So they can do whatever that they want. They can do it with me. They can do it with you. If you go there, next thing you behave in 10 cases.
Yeah.
While you have never seen.
We are seeing what's happening with the lawyers. I mean, the moment they seem like they're coming too strong, there's cases.
And no one is asking that. No one is ever going to ask that. Not even the judges. But why is this case followed by the cloud like this? Why?
I don't think he cares.
Why is this happening? Those are things that you need to jot down and write and say, this is disturbing me. It is making me understand, maybe it clouds my judgment of this case.
A normal person, right, would be under that question mark. What is happening?
So it doesn't make sense for someone to say, blame these ones, blame this defense. So even I can go to jail for nothing.
You know, that's the scary part for
just
me.
Just because I don't have money to get the lawyer that those AKA guys got.
That's the scary part for me, is that if you don't have a lawyer that is expensive that you can pay for, that will fight, that is a shark. You're going to jail.
That's how
stuff
capitalism.
That you have nothing to do with.
That's how capitalism operates. And if you don't have enough money, you'll suffer.
You will.
That's how capitalism operates. But we do not expect it to actually cloud the justice of this country.
Guys, South Africa.
Let us continue.
Yeah, and I also wanted to talk about that clip I had seen, where that guy was like, he was a part of the jury and they were refusing him to be a part of the jury because they asked him a question that if people come and testify and they say they saw that guy go into the store and steal whatever he stole, and is the group of people that are saying this, and it's their evidence is taken and their evidence is used in the court to convict this person. And he said, no, I would not be able to use that, because with every version there's a side of a story and then there's a truth. What if it happens that these people are lying on this person, and then you are not allowed to question that element that these people could be lying on this person just because they are saying it, and they are there by themselves saying, I did not do it. I must now believe what these people are saying just because they are witnesses. And then he said, no, that's not just. That's not fair. And then they asked him that, okay, if you're saying that this is not fair, then what happens that he gets convicted for this crime? And he's saying that I cannot take word of mouth, because the judge kept saying that he said something that he didn't say, which happens a lot with Judge Rata as well. Where you twist a word where you were meant to, you thought you heard the person say something and they did not say that thing.
Yes.
So he was pointing it out to the judge that even you just made a mistake of saying something that I did not say. So what more can happen if a person decides to say something that did not happen in a court and a person gets convicted? So the evidence must have a little bit more weight than just word of mouth, which is the point that I don't think in South African courts it applies. As long
in
as
South African
all
courts,
police officer says that this is what happened, and you were the one who were getting arrested, and it's you against the police, the court in South Africa will believe the police over you.
Yes. And even the issue that many are complaining about, your situation of NIU and whatnot, it seems like that. Most of the time, if they come and say, this one was shooting at us, it is
then
that.
we believe, okay, they were shooting at you, so you were protecting yourselves. But who's there to testify? Where's the CCTV footage? Where is the stuff that proves beyond reasonable doubt that this person was actually shooting at you and you were defending yourselves?
And at the time, you are no more. You can't even defend yourself. No, you
can't. You
even
cannot.
if you were here, I can promise you 10 of police versus you, it's a lose.
And it doesn't even matter whether you did the crime or not, because even with those, it's even worse, because you don't even appear before a court. You don't even get that chance. You don't get that chance, unfortunately. By the time they decide to...
The fact that this case has been coming with Baloyi, one has to wonder. I don't know if they would argue that. They would be able to, or they will be allowed, because now you have to... One has to wonder. Baloyi has been fingered to have been the part of the people that took the decision.
Yes.
What can stop Baloyi from defending, by all means, his decision?
He's already
his decision of choosing CAS 636 over CAS 375.
He just decided 375.
And let me show you.
I'm gonna go with 336.
Let me show you how much this judge was woke today. When Baloyi almost shot himself by asking, why was there a difference between these two cases? The judge objected. We all wanted that answer. We all wanted that answer.
And then he's like, are you sure, Mr.
Hey, my daughter. Hey, my session judge. Hey, my daughter. Zomenza, what are you going to...
Why, Judge?
I wanted that
Why
answer.
Are you stopping this process?
I stopped everything I was doing at work when I was listening to that part. Because I knew the line of questioning was going in a wrong way. And when he objected, it was just an anticlimax. It was like, here we go. Working together. It's Banda number 2. Baloyi was shooting himself on the foot. And he was exactly...
For the first time I saw Baloyi angry. He was angry. His facial expression.
He was exactly where Warrant Officer Makhubo wanted him. Exactly. Because he was supposed to explain. And then The judge said, no.
Rescued him.
Where is that going to help?
Rescued him all the time.
I was like, oh, well. Let's go, Emil. Let's shoot and say
okay,
what
I
was said
think we all knew that it was kind of too good to be true for the state to allow the reopening of this case, okay? I just guessed, in my opinion, that this is way too good to be true, because I saw the resistance coming in the morning and I was like, I knew that this was too good to be true. After the defense requested to reopen its case in the trial within a trial, more witnesses, police officers, were expected to be called to the stand. And these officers were former Gauteng Hawks head Shadrack Sibia, of which Ngomezulu said that they had not yet spoken to yet, a Colonel Vincent Lishabani, and Warrant Officer Mishek Makhubo. While only Warrant Officer Mishek Makhubo was able to testify, and we all know what happened with Vincent Lishabani.
So, the ML, before you continue, why I'm saying this trial is going to be accepted, that's exactly the reason. They are accepting this reopening, so-called reopening of the case, so that, as he was saying, through his words, I don't want to again. So the judgment is going left. You can tell that the judgment is going left. So they opened this. They said, no, what can we do to cripple this whole process? Okay, let's take these two out. We'll subpoena them if they don't want to come. Why did you say that? Who said they don't want to come to testify for the state? Why would a judge say?
Why would a judge say?
You know what Baloyi would do,
if they refuse to come. Why would he say that?
It's like shots are fired. A warning. If you don't want to come, we will subpoena you.
Sounded like a threat.
You are subpoenaed.
Well, yeah, they first objected to the testimony of Warrant Officer Makhubo, and now all three, there was absolutely no way they would have allowed for that to happen, for all these three police officers to testify like this under these conditions, in my opinion. So Ramosipili wanted to make an announcement this morning, and he placed that what he was told by legal aid. You know, I could tell that he was itching to say something all along on that seat. It was bending him to put this on the record. And I was like, what is happening? You know, because accused number 4 was late in being brought to court, being transported to court. It took quite a while. And at some point, he wanted to put that on the record before even accused number 4 showed up. I mean, it was so strange to me. I don't know how many people found that strange. Advocate Baloyi said that it had nothing to do with accused number 4, and in any case, his legal representative was there. However, the judge reminded him that it's not the law to allow that in the accused absence. They cannot now be putting things on record for the court while the accused are not all there. You know, it is a rule that they have. And for some reason, Ramosipili and Advocate Baloyi did not mind bending that rule. I found it very strange, especially coming from Mr. Ramosipili. Baloyi even wanted to quote the textbook section, to support that, this thing should be placed on record before accused number 4 arrives. The judge asked if he is not also instructed by legal aid. Well, Baloyi said that accused number 4 is instructed by legal aid, but Ramosipili's announcement did not affect him or affect him in that way. So the judge asked Mr. Nxumalo for any comments, and he said that they would rather take a short adjournment because accused number 4 has an interest in the matter. There was a very interesting conversation between the judge and Advocate Baloyi. And I don't know what you guys, Mzansi Reality family, think about this. What could we have inferenced from this conversation? The conversation I'm talking about is when the judge asked Advocate Baloyi about the case of a certain attorney. He was charged with 348 counts of fraud. He embezzled trust funds. He was represented by Silk. Then he came before a magistrate in the regional court They agreed that they don't have to categorize all 348 charges as fraud because all of them are fraud. So they kind of summarized that case into one and made it one case of fraud or one charge of fraud. The parties agreed that he will plead guilty. The magistrate turned around and said that he thinks he was not correct in combining that plea, because if you ask this person on all individual charges, unless if he makes a statement that he has read the charge sheet and that he understands the charge sheet, that is the technicality. The judge said that he does not think that that person will succeed. Okay, the person who's accused, that attorney who's been embezzling people's trust funds. What is it with lawyers who are doing this nonsense, stealing from people? What is going on in South Africa? There's so many cases of lawyers who do this. So many, especially in 2024. I'm coming across so many cases of lawyers who are stealing people's trust funds, who are stealing, it's a lot. I'm just saying. It's my opinion. So Baloyi also said that he thinks he will not succeed. He's an attorney and he also represented by senior counsel. Now this conversation was very interesting, but since a case was quoted, I noted it because these cases are not just quoted for the fun of it, hey? You'll find that there's an argument in this case that is supposed to help the state with something. You understand what I'm saying? So I wanted you guys to tell me what you thought about that. What you thought about the mentioning of this particular case. Any relevance? What is going on? What am I missing? You know? It was an interesting one. So accused number 4 eventually arrived, and Ramasipili stood to say with respect to feedback pertaining to his termination of mandate that happened on Monday. Mr. Mujito called him, he said, Ramasipili. He said, Mr. Mujito called me on Monday on my way this morning to tell me that he is not available, but he requests me to place the following on record. Firstly, that my mandate with legal aid, my termination of legal aid on Monday by accused number 1 was not done with good cause. Secondly, that accused number 1 had previously been granted legal aid in the lower courts that he also terminated similarly. Now he has placed himself in jeopardy of obtaining future help from legal aid should his instruction with Mr. Mgomezulu not go according to order. And lastly, that in case he gets legal aid in future, it is not a guarantee that Mr. Mgomezulu will be appointed on his behalf. So those are the issues. I said I should not come to the chambers and vaccinate with the court, but he said they should be placed on record. I knew that was coming. Why?
I knew that was coming.
To me, basically, legal aid here is refusing to pay Mr. Mgomezulu, number 1, and they are not welcoming of the relationship that accused number 1 has forged with Mr. Mgomezulu. They did not pay him after Mr. Ramasipili called him, and they are saying that should Mgomezulu wish to continue with representing accused number 1, then they will not be paying him as well.
So they must find a new lawyer now.
Yeah, if legal aid if he applies for legal aid, he must get another lawyer besides Mr. Mgomezulu.
So knowing how this case is going to drag, obviously the funds will run dry, and obviously they would have to intervene with our money.
But they are putting that condition that Mr. Mgomezulu is not allowed to get any of their funds from legal aid.
What is it with Mgomezulu that you don't like?
What is the beef?
Why is he saying it's not with a good cause?
And why is he saying it's not with a good cause? So already I sense a bit of hostility. I don't know what is happening with Ramasipili, but something is off. Maybe I'm over-exaggerating. You guys tell me.
Yeah, something is obviously off.
Something is off. So So Mgomezulu said that it is the first time that he was hearing about this, and he could not comment further in relation to the instruction of accused number 1 with legal aid or their relationship with legal aid. So the judge asked him if he doesn't want to consult with his client, and he consulted with accused number 1. Then he came back and said that accused number 1 stands by his decision. He reserves his right not to comment on the same reason. Now, Advocate Baloyi wanted Mr. Mgomezulu to motivate his application to reopen the case after the state did not oppose it on Monday. And the judge even made a ruling, guys. The judge had made a ruling that he is allowing Mr. Mgomezulu to reopen the case. Everything was done. That's why I was so happy on Monday. How? I was so happy because everything was concluded. You know, it was done. That's the deal. But of course, in my mind, a tiny bit of my mind, I always reserve for this kind of things to happen, because they've been happening ever since we started following this case. Just when you think something is going well, creative ways somehow manifest, and what you were expecting does not happen how you were expecting it to happen. So the judge even reminded Advocate Baloyi that the court has made an order on the basis that the state did not oppose the application. Remember on Monday how Advocate Baloyi was frazzled. I mean, he even forgot that I need to oppose this. Did you hear any opposing that he did? No. So there was no opposing. Today he decided to wake up and remember I was supposed to oppose, but I'm going to oppose anyway. So you actually suggested that it be postponed to Thursday, and Baloyi said that it was in respect of legal aid. Okay, the state now opposed the application for reopening the trial within a trial, and Baloyi started off by saying that the reopening is not just for the taking. The accused will have to motivate for his decision. The judge said, Mr. Baloyi, this court has made an order on the basis that you didn't oppose it. Do you remember that? And Baloyi said he wishes to continue with the bail application. He said that the state had always opposed it. Did it now? I missed it.
No, I did not see that. And what Mgomezulu has done with accused number 1, it is correct. It's supposed, accused number 1 is an independent person, supposed to be represented independently, like everyone else. I don't understand why people are saying that.
Together.
Why people are saying that, why this is the case. Yes, people came there, they were getting donations or whatnot, maybe, or maybe they were not getting any donations, but out of their goodwill, they said, like Tifo, I want to show up. Everything will do, everything pro bono. Yes, it has happened. So it's not the first time that this is happening. It has happened before.
It has.
In fact, the start of the case for these lawyers to even come flocking to this direction, it started with Tifo coming as a private person,
and
saying,
was not getting paid by legal aid.
I'll do pro bono. Yes.
It was pro bono.
Yes,
And
so there's nothing wrong that Mgomezulu has done by coming through a certain way. Now, if he wants to be paid like everyone else, there was nothing wrong there. I mean, in any case, they are not representing one person. They are representing 2 people.
Yes. And if accused 1 feels like I need Mgomezulu to represent, why are you guys stopping him from having that?
I don't understand. What is the logic behind?
He's not supposed to say, this lawyer actually represents me well, and I would like to be represented by this lawyer instead. What is wrong with him doing that? He's fighting for his life. I mean, with the other previous court cases he's had that he's currently convicted of, he's had legal aid lawyers. He has had them. And look at where that ended. He said that Ngomezulu was initially introduced by Ramosipili as a lawyer who is joining him in the case and not just the trial within a trial. His legal team closed their case, and Baloyi said, "We submit that Advocate Ngomezulu has been part of the defense team from the 16th of October 2023 in the early stages of the trial within a trial. The defense met and discussed if those witnesses should be called after a decision was taken by the defense not to call those witnesses. Mr. Ngomezulu was part of the decision not to call witnesses, and if this application is granted, new evidence will be adduced and legal teams will have to amend their heads of argument." So the state objected to accused number 1 to reopen the case, and Mr. Ngomezulu must bring an application. A conscious decision was taken not to call witnesses. Baloyi then said, if this application is allowed, new evidence will be introduced. All counsel will have to amend their heads of argument. Baloyi said that there are no exceptional circumstances to the application. He said some of the witnesses are on the state's list of witnesses for the state in the main trial. Now, I was beating my head trying to understand why is the judge letting Advocate Baloyi go on and on and on and on. Turns out this is the most important part that they wanted him to reach. And as soon as he got here, they are like, okay, the judge intervened, then was like, that exigency was not considered by me. The judge said to Ngomezulu, you must confer with the state on whether General Lishabani, the police officer, will be called by them or not. And I'm like, what is happening? Every time I just feel like the wind is blowing over my face. You know, if you don't pay attention in this case, a lot of things will fly over your head.
Yes, it will. Because when you look at how normally things are shut down after the ruling, Shololo, I have ruled. Why are you standing up? I have ruled on this.
But
But Baloyi was given airtime, talked
for a whole 30 minutes or so.
Waffle. Then at the end, then he said, for example, nah, is the case. And the judge was like, oh
yes, General Lishabani.
Ngomezulu knows law. You cannot do that. And from that point of view, you could clearly see that this witness was not part of the list. Mm-hmm. Because if that was the case,
then on Monday that should have been brought up.
Yes, that the witnesses that you want to bring are part of the list.
There's a time when Zungu was testifying and they stopped him. Whenever he wanted to express what Lishabani was saying, they said, that is hearsay. That is hearsay. So that did not demonstrate an intention
to call
for
Lishabani.
The state to call Lishabani.
Because they would normally say, Your Lordship, may we allow this evidence. We even complained about that on the basis that Lishabani is still to be called. Do you understand?
None of that was done.
And all of a sudden, Lishabani is going to be part. The fact that...
And in the main trial as well. I thought a trial within a trial was a trial on its own. You understand? But now, with the state, the ball games are different.
It can never be a trial on its own, Emil. I think the way the trial within a trial is on itself self-explanatory in a sense that it says it's a trial that has arisen within that trial.
But
so
then
it can never be
the defense
independent.
would bring up stuff from the main trial, they were stopped.
Yes. On the basis of that, yes. Because they are focusing on the admissibility of what was submitted.
The confession statements.
Yes, but it can never be an independent thing.
So it means that even if the defense had witnesses that they were going to call later on in the main trial, they were supposed to express that and say, don't call these people, we're going to call them in the main trial. Does it work for both of them?
If they were
like
given the statements of people that were going to be called, it was going to be easy for the defense because they would have read and know that, okay, this person is a state witness.
But they didn't do that.
Obviously, we know some of them, my lord, this witness is not part of the list. How many times have you heard that?
So now another thing that also raised the hairs at the back of my head when the mentioning of General Shabani that he's going to be a witness. And what I found strange about it, that people are probably asking themselves, what do I mean when I say if you don't pay attention, things will fly over your head here, is because, number one, he made a ruling on Monday. This whole thing he was done. He was going to allow for the witnesses to come. This is a judge. He made a ruling on Monday, right? It was done. And now he's allowing Advocate Baloyi
to vent the matters of things that the ruling was made on.
So that did not make sense. And I sat there and listened until he got to this part where now he was mentioning that General Shabani is one of the witnesses, and the judge kind of woke up from whatever. He was like, okay, this is the part that I need. You understand? So that is a problem, he said, if Shabani is intended to be called by the state in the main trial. The state said that Shabani is on their list. There's only one aspect whether Shabani will be used in the main trial. And if the state says it's one of the witnesses they want to call, then the state must have first privilege. If he refuses after having made a statement, you know what to do. He can be impeached. He can be impeached. I don't know impeach. Impeach is a very strong word. We don't play with the word impeach. Then Gomezulu then said, what puzzles me is that the same state that is objecting to the calling of General Shabani is the one that subpoenaed him to come to court today. So if this thing is canvassed now, I was not informed. So they had actually subpoenaed General Shabani to come to court.
And Baloyi refuses. That's the case.
The judge said, Mr. Mgomezulu, we are going to be here the whole day unless if you can quote me the law that says I can override the consent of the state that they intend calling Shabani. If it's in the law, I'll order it. Okay. Then Gomezulu then said, thank you, my lord, I'll do so. But may I just place this one, because the state has already made a submission relating to what the court has heard about this heads of argument. And guess what? Mgomezulu was not given a heads up as well to say, prepare heads of arguments because we are going to counter the witnesses that you want to call. He finds this out in the court this morning. So he didn't have heads of arguments for this. Only Baloyi was the one who was prepared for it. So yeah, those are kind of the stuff that happens in that courtroom. So Mgomezulu said that he was not afforded an opportunity and he did not consult with accused number one. So the judge said that they are irrelevant. The only new dichotomy that they traverse is the fact that Shabani may possibly be called by the state as a witness in the main trial. That's all. Otherwise, all these principles, he said he knew them. So he said
why is
the only important
these
thing,
people? Like, they can be impeached.
Impeach is a very strong word.
What
Impeach means your whole life is over.
What?
Impeach means your career is over.
What business does he have sending those signals to these people, those messages, subliminal messages that is sending?
Impeach on its own is another process of its own. And to use impeach so carelessly like that, I don't understand. He's really threatening these people, in my opinion.
Well, it does sound like that.
It's a threat. So one case that you forgot, Mr. Baloyi, this is the judge reminding, it's State versus King. See, guys, what we were talking about. This is another case, State versus King, that the leading case in this exigency, SCA, it was written by the judgment. It was written by Adams. Okay, he said Adams. Baloyi said that they did not subpoena General Shabani. The only witness they subpoenaed was Warrant Officer Makhubo. So they only subpoenaed him and not General Shabani, as well as Sibiya as well. So Baloyi then said this case has been long running. The family of the deceased and the public are entitled to
Which
an
family?
outcome.
Because Fiso is talking against this case.
When last did he talk to the family?
Baloyi.
Did he even talk to the family at all? Woo! And then he said that we, the public, as well, are entitled to an outcome. I'm like, since when do you care what the public thinks? He says of the guilt or innocence of the accused as soon as it is applicable. He said we also question the relevance of those witnesses. Baloyi said we submit that should the court allow the application to reopen the defense case, Mr. Mgomezulu must indicate what the relevance of each of those witnesses is. So the court allowed that the other witnesses be called except for General Lishabani, whom the state might call in the main trial. So the judge complained about the defense not understanding the trial within a trial. Instead, he has been listening to people telling him about visiting a girlfriend in phase 2 and what is her name. Was he told that they're taking the accused away? And then he quoted state versus Muchinindi, state versus Dlamini, state versus Ferreira, etc. He feels like they do not understand the purpose of a trial within a trial. Now, this was a jab thrown at the defense counsel, okay? And the judge ordered that Mgomezulu can call any witness with the exception of Colonel Lishabani or Colonel Lishabani. The judge also reminded accused number 2 that he said he went to Pukeng to certify documents and that he said this in English and that many judges cannot express themselves like him. I don't know what he was implying by that, making accused number 1 stand up, accused number 2 stand up to listen to him, throw a jab at him. So what is certifying is Zulu, when a judge, since you are a master of knowing everything. What is certifying? What is certifying in Zulu? How was he supposed to express it? Because that's what we do when we go to the police station. I don't have a word Kasetswana for certify. What is a word for?
We use certify.
He's literally doing what Sibanda was doing when he said that accused number 2 could read Sasol. Oh, what is the garage? Engine garage. What is going on here? Then Warrant Officer Makhubo was instead called, and what he's currently working as, so he's currently stationed at DPCI, which is a part of the Hawks, and as they were waiting for Warrant Officer Makhubo, Advocate Baloyi read a section 210 of the Criminal Procedure Act, and it said that no matter the evidences to any fact matter shall be admissible, which is irrelevant or immaterial, which cannot conduce to prove or disprove any point of fact at issue in criminal proceedings. The judge asked Mgomezulu if he is aware of that section, and Mgomezulu said that he was aware of it. So they had to squeeze it in there. Makhubo was sworn in, and Mgomezulu said, "Say, is it correct that you are a member of the SAPS?" And Makhubo said, "Yes, that's correct." The interpreter asked him to speak louder. I'm mentioning what the interpreter was saying on purpose. Mgomezulu then said, "What's your current rank?" And Makhubo said, "A warrant officer." And Makhubo said that he worked for the DPCI. The interpreter asked him again to speak louder so that the accused could hear him. Then he said, "Okay." He said the DPCI stands for the Director for Priority Crime Investigation. And Mgomezulu asked him that, is that a part of the Hawks? And Makhubo said yes. Mgomezulu asked where. Makhubo said that he worked at Mayor Street in Germiston. He said he started working in 1992 as a uniform officer. The judge shouted at Mr. Makhubo, "Sir, can you please speak up? I have a bad hearing." And I'm like, I thought the only person who had a bad hearing was Advocate Nisi. But today our judge had a bad hearing. He said, "I had a bad hearing capacity. Khuluma njengami. Everybody must hear. Bangaphumi lana bathi asimzwanga, because our people want to know what is happening kule case. Please." In 1992, he worked at Katlehong police station, warrant officer Makhubo. Then he went to the section of murder and robbery in 1998. Then he said that it was disbanded. Then he was now moved to the serious and violent crime unit. He does not remember which year that happened. Then from there, he went to organized crime in Germiston. Then serious organized crime section. Then in 2010, Makhubo said that he started working for DPCI until today. So it was launched in 2009, this DPCI, but he started working there in 2010. And Mgomezulu asked him, in relation to this matter, you have been called for. Can you tell the court how you are related to this case? And the state objected to the line of questioning, saying that this trial within a trial is related to the alleged confessions. It has nothing to do with the issue at hand. Is that objection making sense, Mr. Anonymous? Because to me it was like, So he's not supposed to ask him how uhlanganapi in a case. He's not.
Look, anything that was accepted, it was accepted. That's the court. You know how things are that side.
Okay. So Baloyi said, we submit this evidence is not relevant. Well, Baloyi continued to say that the question is whether the statements made by the accused were made freely and voluntarily. But where do the statements come from? They just come from the air. They are not linked to a case. He said, of sober mind and without any undue influence. It's funny because the other police officers were asked what cases, what makes them connected to this case. I think all of them were asked that question. Uhlanganapi with 636. So this one, when they're being asked that question, it's a problem. He said, we submit this line of questioning has nothing to do with the evidence at hand. How is it going to have a chance to do anything with the evidence at hand when you're blocking a basic question like uhlanganapi ne 636? Well, therefore, the evidence is irrelevant, he said. Mgomezulu said that the state called Swanepoel and him as a witness, his evidence was not relevant, of which I agree. Swanepoel, wasn't he the one talking about police stations and whatnot?
He was. He
was talking about police stations and he was not there. He did not book in accused number 1 or accused number 2. He was from a different police station. And honestly, his evidence had nothing to do with the confessions. But he was there. He was given an opportunity and he testified, So the judge said that we are going to be here the whole day. Funny how he's now bothered about the time and being here the whole day. But when Sibanda was going around in circles, repeating questions for 2 days, the time was not of the essence. He does not have the whole day today, but he had 2 whole days for Sibanda to repeat questions. Ngomezulu then asked how Makhubo was appointed to the case, okay? And Ngomezulu said that in relation to this matter, do you have anything to do with the event in 2019 which relates to accused number 1? Well, Makhubo said that in 2019, he was called by General Leshabane. And Mgomezulu asked him what was the reason. Makhubo said that there was information regarding the Senzo Meyiwa matter. He said that he was asked, or rather General Shabani asked him why. He said he asked General Shabani why was he the only one being contacted, as there were 4 members that were working on this case. So the state objected again. Advocate Baloyi objected again. And he said that it's my learned friend now going to take hearsay of General Shabani. That, my lord, we submit, it is irregular. Everything was irregular today for the state. What General Shabani told the witness is not inadmissible. Why is it not inadmissible? That is why I was questioning this whole appearing of the witness.
It's not admissible.
I was questioning it because I'm like, General Shabani is going to be called in the main trial.
No, remember, This is a separate entity when it comes to that. What happens to the main trial?
Okay. So Mgomezulu then said that is why he intended to call General Leshabane to confirm, and the judge started shouting at Mgomezulu now, saying that we have traversed that. If Leshabane is going to testify for the state, you can't call him, please. You can't call him. That's the law. He can only be called by the state. And I told you the consequences of him refusing. They can then use Section 205 or 204. And then Mgomezulu said that accused number 1 also gave the evidence. Malo was asked if that happened, and he confirmed that yes, that happened. He did give evidence with regards to General Leshabane. No, Mshololo also confirmed. Advocate Mnyeki also confirmed, who's standing in for Advocate Mnisi. And he did testify about Leshabane in the trial within a trial.
Yes, he did.
And Baloyi said that it does not make the evidence of the witness acceptable. Mgomezulu asked, why do you say you are also the investigative team in this case? And Makhubo said, because we were appointed by the National Commissioner and the Minister on this case. And Mgomezulu asked him, did you attend the call by General Leshabane? Makhubo said, yes, I didn't know Chlorkop properly. He was directing me, and it was around 8 p.m. Mgomezulu asked him, where were you directed to? And Makhubo said, a police officer there. On arrival, he put me in an office. I think it's his. When I got there, as I was with Leshabane, I found General Sibia, who was no longer an employee of the SAPS, and another officer who had not put his ranks. So this is very interesting. Zungu also said that General Sibia was there. And at the time, he was not working for the SAPS.
So who's that officer? Was it Zungu who didn't put his ranks?
The one who didn't put his ranks was Zungu, yes. So when he called me, he was informing me that he had information on the case of Senzo Meyiwa. And Makhubo said that when we got to the office, he introduced me to the people there. I knew General Shadrach Sibia. He introduced me to Constable Zungu, whom I said was the police officer that had uniform with no ranks. So Mgomezulu then said, were you given information regarding the death of Senzo? And Makhubo said yes. Mgomezulu asked him what was said to you. The state objected again, saying that it is irrelevant and hearsay evidence. And Mgomezulu asked, was there anything relating to accused number 1 that was mentioned in that office? And Makhubo said that they arrested him on the 19th of March for the case of Senzo Meyiwa. So Makhubo has confirmed
that he was arrested for case of Senzo Meyiwa.
Yes.
That's an important thing.
He has confirmed that the first time that accused number 1 was arrested in 2019, which is what he said on the stand, was in relation to the Senzo Meyiwa case.
Highlight that.
And then the rest of the illegal substances,
the gibberish that followed after that,
they came after. After 2019. We have deliberated the cases and the case numbers here on the channel. Check out the videos if you don't know what we're talking about. Check them out for the new people who may come across this video and be confused what we're talking about. So the first time they arrested him, it was for the Senzo Meyiwa case. Mgomezulu then said, after you were related with the information on Senzo's death, what did you do as the investigating officer of this case? And Makhubo said that the information they had was contradicting the information that he had relating to this case. And asked what he meant by that. Makhubo said that I will not state what they said about accused number 1, but they implicated accused number 5, whom I know. Mgomezulu asked, accused number 1 has told the court that he was arrested, he was taken to Chlorkop and assaulted. And he says that he heard the names Zungu, Makhubo, and Sibia. And Makhubo said, I was present in that particular office. Zungu and Sibia were also there. Mgomezulu then asked, was he charged with the death of Senzo Meyiwa? And Makhubo said, according to my knowledge, the last time that happened was for him to be arrested, but he never appeared in court. Of which is the similar testimony that Sibia gave. He said, I was never taken to court for that arrest. Instead, what they did later on, they went to him with another case. So Mgomezulu then said, when did you hear he was arrested on those charges? And Makhubo said, I only heard that there were 5 people arrested on this case regarding Senzo Meyiwa. Mgomezulu asked Makhubo about how the taking of confessions works. This was a highlight for me of the day because he explained this process and I understood it and it made sense to me with the little knowledge I have of how police officers work. It made sense. Let's go through it. He said, according to his experience, and the judge interrupted him before he could testify, okay? He said, you are putting it to this witness that you don't intend on giving him evidence against the state because he's working for the state. Is he not a policeman? Is he not giving evidence against the state? I'm like, so much hostility. I mean, that's not even the highlights.
Oh, who determines
the question?
Who determines whether you are giving evidence against or for? And I'm saying this because you could be on the other side, but give evidence that supports the states. Are you giving evidence against the states if that's the case?
No, if you're supporting the state. No.
Even if you are on the defense side.
Even if you are on the defense side.
So why is the judge probing that as if now it has concluded that this evidence is against the state?
It's a comment that Mgomezulu made by saying, I know you cannot really compromise the state because you are working for the state. However, you are here testifying. Right? And the judge picked that up just before they could get into the details of what's supposed to happen before you take a confession. That question just came at me like a ton of bricks. I'm like, why is this question important? Why does it stand out? Well, the judge said that he is a warrant officer and not a justice of the peace because Mgomezulu wanted him to explain how the taking of a confession works. And the judge is like, he's a warrant officer and not a justice of the peace. But other officers were asked on how the confessions were taken and they were not justices of the peace. Why didn't you point it out then? Why are you only pointing it out when this witness in particular is on the witness box? Like, I don't get it. Mgomezulu said that I never said he took a confession. The judge was doing that thing again of his getting uncomfortable and objecting like he's a prosecutor again. So Mgomezulu asked, since your years of employment, have you come across a suspect wanting to make a confession? And what is the procedure? Makhubo said that there are a lot of suspects who've confessed in his investigations. Mgomezulu said, what is the procedure that you usually follow? And Makhubo said that the suspect is arrested. There must be evidence. Emphasis, there must be evidence. I'm emphasizing this.
Not arrested for a different case. And then boom.
Evidence.
You confess for another one. That's why I don't get this thing, man. I don't get it. I hear people saying, hey, the AK is going to be different. How is it going to be different?
They are waiting on them to make confessions as well.
Let me put it to you. Okay, just break a few things down. I'm sorry, Emil, just get a breath. 1, those people were arrested for other cases, but they knew that they were arresting them for the case of AKA.
Yes.
Right?
Yes. Yes.
2, those who are going to be extradited from Swatini, they've already asked for their cell phones before they even arrived.
Yes.
So we know where this is going, right? Cell phones, communications, whatnot and whatnot. What are they going to do with the cell phones without these guys being in this country? Let's continue.
Yeah. Suspect must be taken to court and that person must be charged before going to court. The suspect must be taken to court and that person must be charged before going to court. Fingerprints taken.
Bia was talking about fingerprints.
Warning statements must be taken.
Not given later.
Exactly. Like a couple of months later. You know what I'm saying? That is where his rights are informed to the suspect when they are giving them their warning statement. That's why that warning statement was so important. And that is why Sbia ended up asking, where's the one with my fingerprints? Because that one has the date of when I was charged. Where is it?
And it was nowhere.
Did it show up?
No, it never showed up.
So the problem comes with the warning statement. There is a part on the warning statement that says that statement by suspect. That is now explaining to the suspect after you have informed them of their rights according to the warning statement. Then you would tell them that the evidence you have against them is so. That is making you charge them.
You write that down, by the way.
Yes,
he emphasized you write that down. That is not
on
there.
The warning statement that I'm charging you because of so and so and this and this and that and the evidence that is Then you ask them if they want to say anything, and then they will sign after saying that they want to say whatever they want to say.
Then you write it down that they said they want to say something.
Yes. It differs. Some suspects will then say that they will speak in court, meaning that they would rather make their confessions before a magistrate in court. Other suspects would then confess. As they confess, I would then have to stop them.
I would rather believe those ones who confess during the trial.
In a court in front of a magistrate, yes. And then he said, I would ask them and tell them that they are not forced to tell me what they're telling me. Right? I remember Makhubo mentioning something like this in her testimony. However, understand what is supposed to happen. Then he said, I would ask the suspect that if I get another police officer to tell them that what they were telling me, would they agree? Some suspects would agree that they do not have any problem with that. And if they say that they do not have a problem, then I would call my branch commander.
Independent person from the case.
Branch commander. I tell them that I'm investigating a case and I'm charging them. As I'm busy, they now want to make a confession. And on the warning statement, they said they do not have a problem to tell someone else that their confession is so and so. I write it there, that the suspect wants to make a confession. Then I will make the suspect sign. There is also a space where myself, as the investigating officer, I will sign. Then I will put the thumbprint of the suspect next to their signature. Then I will tell the branch commander to arrange for the confession, as I'm not a part of it.
So as people who arrested this guy?
Well, it was well explained, but did Brigadier Gininda contact a branch commander? Does he have
He's
one?
the commander.
He is
guys,
the branch
let's please
commander.
like the video. I cannot sit here for long without those likes. Look, if you finish here, we're obviously shutting down. But let's please like the video.
Yeah, because the process with Brigadier Gininda, he contacted Rapadu himself. He contacted whoever made sure that
He arranged for the person to... They are
where's the branch commander? So the branch
it's not about
commander,
the branch commander. It's about an independent person. And Ngomezulu asked this question Did
They
you call?
blocked him.
Yes, it was blocked by the judge and.
Blocked him. So the branch commander would come back to him and tell him that he has found an independent person. Then he would detain the suspect into the cells. He said, I would tell the branch commander the name of the suspect and the detail, not the details of the case. So he says he will not tell the branch commander the details of the case that this person is arrested for. And then he would give them the SAP-14 and tell them where the suspect is detained at. Those are the only things he would be at liberty to disclose to the branch commander. Then the branch commander would do everything. He said he's not involved in that process. So Brigadier Gininda was the investigating officer as well as the branch commander in this one.
Do you guess that he was a branch?
I'm guessing. It's my guess. So he testified that he contacted Colonel Rapadu because Colonel Rapadu was an independent person to take the confession. Right. So the arresting officers were there during the arrest of the suspect are also not involved. Mohani was booking in and out. And he also arrested accused number 2. And the confession, Mefrokrinye testified to have seen, he was there. Akiribari at the beginning, Tanzi was testifying that at the beginning he actually got inside and then he left. But he was in the vicinity of the confession realization.
Yeah.
And Brigadier Gininda is a commissioned officer, so he can take a confession. Makhubo said that he can, because the judge, I don't remember whether it was the judge or it was Advocate Baloyi who brought it up, that Brigadier Gininda is a commissioned officer who can take confessions, right? So Makhubo said yes, he can, but if he is investigating a case, if he is the investigating officer of the case, then it's a different story. Bazalwane. Then Gomezulu asked him, if a suspect wants to make a confession, you contact the branch commander. Baloyi objected to say that the witness is being asked for an opinion, which they submit is irrelevant. Mgomezulu asked if they could adjourn, and the judge said no, time has passed already. And Mgomezulu said even if the arresting officers are not to be anywhere near the confession taking place, are the investigating officers of 636 of 10/2014. And Makhubo said that he was appointed by the minister and the commissioner to investigate. Mgomezulu asked, do you know if Sergeant Mukhola and Mukhani were also appointed by the national commissioner? And Baloyi stood to object. What is the relevance of that, my learned friend is asking? It's very relevant because they are within this 636 case. They are within it. So we need to know whether the commissioner also appointed them or not. We want to know. Because as far as it has been expressed by Warrant Officer Makhubo is that he was appointed with other people. No mention of Mukhola and Mukhani, right? Then Makhubo said that he had no knowledge of Mukhola and Mukhani's appointment. And Mgomezulu asked, when accused number 1 and the others were arrested, were you contacted by one of the investigating officers that were appointed? And Makhubo said no, there was no one who contacted him. Mgomezulu asked, there is evidence led by the state that this matter, 636, falls under cold case unit. What is it? And Makhubo said it's a team investigating matters that have been filed in the archives. Filed in the archives. So what are archives basically? Archives is where you store files that you consider important, but you are not using them right now. Right? You archive them. That is what you consider a court case. That's the definition. Makes sense, right? Then Mgomezulu said, was 636 filed? And Baloyi stood to object, asking how would the witness know that? What is the relevance of all of that? Then Mngomezulu asked, the witness is the investigating officer, unless if the state will rebut that he has never been appointed. The judge asked who was the lead investigating officer, and Mngomezulu said to his understanding, there was no one who was appointed to lead. They were all leading, 4 of them. So the judge said, so when Brigadier Gininda testified to being the lead investigator, he has not been frank with the court. Mngomezulu said that is what he will argue at a later stage. But yes, Brigadier Gininda was testifying that he's the lead investigator of 636. And that at no point in time, he never mentioned at no point in time, he was appointed with other officers. He just mentioned that he's the one who's the lead investigator. And that's what we've known up until today. Mngomezulu then said, can you confirm that under 636, no one has been appointed by the National Commissioner to lead the investigation? And Mngomezulu said, they said 4 of us need to investigate this matter. No one was placed above anyone. The judge asked, irrespective of the rank. And Makhubo said, what made the commissioner do that is because there were officers who were the same in rank. So he could not say who should lead the investigation.
And Gininda was same as Warrant Officer Makhubo, right?
He was a colonel at the time, Colonel Gininda. So the judge laughed and said, so everybody must lead, nobody makes a decision. So all of you are equal. He was a Colonel Gininda at the time, and Colonel Ramokhali were in rank A. There was also Captain Buthelezi and Warrant Officer Makhubo. So Mngomezulu asked, what evidence did you have to investigate 636? And the judge seemed irritated. Okay, he said, Mr. Baloyi, I know he's now cross-examining his own witness. Let's go on with this case. I'm confused. What does he mean he's cross-examining his own witness? He's making these slight, shady comments as if they're anything to go by. Eliciting evidence from his witness is considered cross-examination. Njani? How? Mngomezulu then said that he was not cross-examining. At any given stage prior to the arrest of accused number 5, you had a meeting with the other police officers who were appointed. Makhubo said we had many meetings, and Makhubo said that they did not meet with regards to the confessions. He was not involved in the taking of the confessions of accused number 1 and number 2, and they had not agreed. Makhubo said on the meeting they held, they had different views. So then we divided into 2 teams. That naturally happened because they had different opinions. Even when these 5 accused were arrested, he said himself and Colonel Buthelezi were not informed. Mngomezulu then asked, you said insofar as your knowledge about cold cases, this case was not filed. It was still under investigation. He was supposed to say it was not filed under the archives. But yeah. Is that your evidence? And Makhubo said, what makes me say that the case was not filed is that when the minister appointed us, he said that there were 40 members that were investigating this matter and had dismissed all of them. And he was now appointing the 4 of us. The judge was laughing at this, obviously found this very funny. And it's also very interesting how Brigadier Gininda never really explained how Senzo's case fell on his lap. That whole process, it was never really divulged into, where he ended up being the lead investigator, as he refers himself as, you know, under the cold case division. How did it become cold? Those issues were not really canvassed, you know, even though it does not sound like this case was ever archived, you know, in my opinion. But that whole process was never really, he explained, he talked a lot, but the important stuff, he didn't divulge into, like how did it become a cold case, and how did it end up in the archives, and how did he get a hold of it? In particular, why was it assigned to him when he was assigned in the investigation process of 636 as well? How did he end up in the cold case division? It's him again. It's been assigned to him again. That whole process, some of us are battling to understand it. And it could have been of assistance if he elaborated on how that process happened and what happened to the rest of the investigating officers from 2014 who'd been working on the case. It could have helped us laymen understand what is going on. Well, then Makhubo said that they spoke to the DPP because they were having different opinions. And in 2019, they were in Advocate Baloyi's office. Hey, Nina. Advocate Baloyi's office in 2019 to speak about this case. He placed his opinion to Advocate Baloyi about the investigation. And he said that his opinion was very different from the rest. He said, we left the docket in Mr. Baloyi's office, and it was myself and Colonel Buthelezi. 2019, Advocate Baloyi is within this case. Far back as 20. They presented him with 375 and 636, but me. He said, while we were here, Colonel Gininda came with another docket. Then there were two dockets. So it was Foslera's case 375 and of 1st of 2019. Makhubo said that they left both dockets. And Gininda came with 63610 of 2014. So I was struggling to understand when he said two dockets, because I'm thinking maybe he handed 375 and 636. And maybe the 636 that he handed in was different from the one that Brigadier Gininda handed in. I don't know. Y'all correct me if I'm wrong. But I heard him say two dockets. So he was not asked, which other docket are you talking about? Was it not only 375 that you handed over to Mr. Baloyi? Did you also hand in over 636? And your version of 636, was it the same one that Gininda came with, or was it different? That is what I'm curious with, and I wanted it to be asked. And as the prosecutor, he had to take a decision on the investigations that they made. This is Advocate Baloyi. Advocate Baloyi, it seems he had a hand on why we are now dealing with 636 instead of 375. And according to Makhubo, but this feels wrong. This feels like he's now literally fighting for his life, in my opinion, allegedly. Because if this is true, then he has to defend 636. He has to defend it. What choice does he have? He's the one who picked it. He has to defend it. So accused number 3 expressed uncomfort, and the judge said that they would adjourn for 3 minutes. It was a very short adjournment, but I was surprised at the time limit of 3 minutes all of a sudden. You know, when Mgomezulu is conducting this very fire cross-examination. Not even a cross-examination, an examination, because it's the defense's witness. And Mgomezulu said, was there any letter given to you by the National Commissioner or Minister terminating your appointment as the investigating officer in this case? And Makhubo said, no, I did not receive it. Baloyi stood to cross-examine. And in my opinion, he was rather hostile. I don't think I've seen Advocate Baloyi that tense as I saw him today. He kind of scared me. It's like the mentioning of his name got him riled up. I think he was not happy with his name being mentioned. That since all the way back in 2019, you knew of these two cases. Both of them. Remember how before De Novo, he was like, They did not, and Advocate Tifo was like, you have known about 375. He was speaking in interviews, and Advocate Baloyi was acting all brand new in court, like he just got a hold of the 375. He hasn't known about it all along. Yo, guys. Well, he asked Makhubo, you were not involved in taking down of the confessions of accused number 1. Is that correct? And Makhubo said that's correct. Baloyi asked him again, you were not involved in the pointings out that took place on the 5th of June 2020. Is that correct? And Makhubo said, yes, that's correct. Baloyi said that his evidence is not helpful in the taking down of confessions of accused number 1. That's the best he could do. Bella bombs were dropped. It was like, okay, you have nothing to do with the confessions. You have nothing to do with the confessions. That's the best you could do, you know. But however, he was helpful to us, the public opinion. Okay, he was helpful to us because he explained how a confession is supposed to be taken and how the confessions of accused number 1 and number 2 were taken is rather looking sketchy right now because were the warning statements that Advocate Mshololo kept asking about, and you all act like they don't matter. Where are they? Where's the one that accused number 1 said, where's my fingerprints? The one that I had finger. Where are those warning statements? And how come he was informed that accused number 1 was arrested in relation to this case in 2019 while he denies it? So he was helpful to us. He may not have been helpful to the state, but he was helpful, very helpful to the public. So Baloyi then asked, you also don't know the circumstances under which those confessions were taken, and he doesn't know, he said. Well, Colonel Gininda was a colonel by 2018, 2019, and now he became a brigadier. There are allegations that he jumped the rank, but I'm not sure because I don't understand the ranking. So you guys can correct me if I'm wrong. Apparently, you don't just move from being a colonel to a brigadier. There are some ranks in between. So I don't know. It's what I heard on the streets. I'm not sure of what I'm saying myself. So if you guys can kindly correct me if that is true or not. So from 2019, he became a brigadier. You know, Gininda, meaning he got promoted. And the 18th of June, November 2018, that is when they were appointed. So at the time, 2018, when they were appointed, Brigadier Gininda was Colonel Gininda. And they said that Brigadier Gininda said they took over as the cold case unit in 2019. So Brigadier Gininda testified as well that he became a part of the cold case unit in 2019. So Makhubo said that he does not know of the cold case unit in the SAPS. Now that is very interesting. Baloyi said the warrant officer Makhubo said that cold case works with cases that had not been filed, while Brigadier Gininda said that he works with cases that had not been resolved, not filed. This not filed was getting abused by Baloyi here in this. I was starting to get confused myself because he's supposed to say not filed in the archives, not necessarily not filed. Not filed where? Where are they supposed to be filed? But he was going along with it. And Makhubo said that the docket is still being investigated. Is not cold because it's still being investigated. It's not cold because it's in the hands of an investigating officer. They're still investigating it. So a cold case is a case that is on file. That is why it's being referred to as a cold case, because it has been filed. Okay, so Baloyi said, is it your understanding of the cold case unit? And Makhubo said, it is not my understanding, it's what I know. So according to Brigadier Gininda, cases that are called are those that have not been resolved. Even the ones that have convictions, allegedly, because we all saw what happened with that other case that has a conviction in KZN, and then it was brought up again to say that accused number 2 is implicated in it. Okay, so by the looks of things, it seems like with this cold case unit, you can just take a case that another investigating officer is working on. You can just take it away and continue working on it, or you can take one that is closed and has a conviction and then resuscitate it, and then you can do that in this cold case division. While I'm under the impression that when a case has gotten cold, it hasn't been touched in a couple of months. It has no investigating officer anymore, or the investigating officer gave up on it to say, you know what, I cannot find who did this crime. Let me just file it in the archives. I'm letting it go. I'm thinking those are what we call cold cases that were unsolved, that have not been touched for years, that are not being investigated at all. But it seemed like an investigative officer can work, according to Brigadier Gininda's version, they can be working on a case. As long as it's still open, they take it. It's a cold case. So Baloyi wanted to know what caused the division amongst the 4 investigators and what split them into 2 teams. And Makhubo said that they were divided by the crime scene of the incident in Vosloorus. There are 2 theories. And I was like, yeah? There are 2 theories. And then Baloyi went exactly where I wanted him to go. He said, what are those 2 theories? And just when I was about to hear these 2 theories, guys, the judge asked how this was going to help him in admissibility of the confessions. And I was like, yes, like man. Then Baloyi said, is it correct that you were appointed as the investigator of 636 and not 375 of 2019? Makhubo said that the 375 document came after the investigation of 636-10 of 2014, and 375 was investigated by Makhubo in Buthelezi. So, in fact, Baloyi said, you are not the investigating officer in 636, but you are investigating officer in 375, one of 2019. And Makhubo said, just like I said, 375 is from Vosloorus case 636. It is not correct to say that you are the investigating officer of 636. That's what Baloyi asked again. And Makhubo said, I have all the dockets. I have 636 and I have 375. So can anybody tell me what Baloyi was trying to do here? Was he trying to get Makhubo to isolate himself from the investigation of 636 or what? Because it seemed like he was trying to cancel his involvement in 636 to say that he was only working with 375. But he's saying that 375 came from 636. So how can I denounce myself or take myself and my work away from 636? It's a mess, you guys. This case. Then Baloyi said the procedure that you have outlined, regarding the procedure that you have outlined, the arrangements you make with your branch commander, is it documented anywhere? And I was puzzled at this question because when he was testifying, he was talking about other cases that he had done, not necessarily this case. So how would the instructions of the branch commander for other cases would have helped? I don't know, but it seemed like he wanted them. Then Makhubo said, I was speaking on what I learned and studied and what I was trained. It was in the modules in class. And Baloyi asked, you agree that the testimony you gave for accused number 1 on the 19th of March 2019, you heard it from other people. You have no first-hand knowledge of that. And Makhubo said, yes, I heard it in Courtroom when I was called. The judge expressed his shock in the 40 investigators that had been hired prior to Makhubo and the rest of the 3 officers being hired. Makhubo said that the minister had said that he fired 40 people in this case and fired all of them. Okay, so the judge said that he will reserve all his comments. So it seemed like he pretty much was not believing what Makhubo was saying with regards to that situation. So Mgomezulu asked, regarding 375 and 636, is it the same crime scene? And Makhubo said yes, and it is not the same suspect. Makhubo said, will you be able to judge? Well, Mr. Mgomezulu, are you aware that you are abusing the process? Now, this is where they were trying to stop Mgomezulu from asking further questions. Apparently, he's not supposed to ask these questions. I don't know why. Law people can explain to me, because I thought in examination you lay the basis, you ask your questions that you wanted to ask, but then it seemed like he's cross-examining, and that's why they're stopping him and saying that he's abusing the process, because they feel like he's cross-examining. How were they able to determine whether he's cross-examining? I don't know. I won't be able to explain it. So Baloyi asked that the evidence of Warrant Officer Makhubo be struck off the record. Because it is irrelevant and hearsay evidence, according to him. So he can make no contribution with the issues that this court is seized with. I was like, the nerve. The nerve, like asking for a whole testimony to be scrapped off the record just because they say you knew in 2019 about this case of 375. Hi, gang, my friend. No, you're saying the whole testimony must be scrapped off. And a lot of people were like, yeah, Baloyi is winning. Baloyi is scrapping the floor with Makhubo. I'm like, what? Are we watching the same case? Well, the judge didn't comment or anything. I don't know. There has to be some stronger argument to scrap this testimony off the record. There's no way it will just happen like this. He needs to fight a little bit harder than just saying it and putting it on record. There's no way that testimony can just be scrapped off just because he says so. No. Mgomezulu asked to do some copies, because now it was time for Advocate Baloyi to put forth his arguments, his heads of argument. And boy, were they long, okay? They were very long, and he's not done. He's still gonna continue tomorrow. So after the long adjournment, State Prosecutor Advocate Judge Baloyi began. He outlined how he will proceed. Okay, he said that he will touch on the following issues to be decided in the trial within a trial. He set out the law governing those issues, facts of evidence. He briefly dealt with the defense case, and he said he will reach a conclusion. Baloyi said that the confessions were made before justices of the peace, and he said that the defense objected to the admission of the confessions on the basis that they never made statements. These statements were brought to them and they were assaulted. So the following grounds were laid by the defense. Ramasipili for accused number 2. He was assaulted over a period of time, arrested on the 16th of June 2020, and assaulted from the 19th of June 2020 until he was taken to court. The rights were not explained. Baloyi said after engagement with the court, he said the notion that their rights were not explained to them was not part of the grounds laid for an objection. Baloyi said that the state contends that the accused's rights were explained at every turn upon arrest and every critical step thereafter. The accused say that the police concocted a story and put it in their confessions and pointings out in order to make it their own and sign those statements. We ask a rhetorical question as to how the police would have tailored the story to the evidence against number 2 or accused number 2. Baloyi asked, how would the police have known what to write in those statements. The allegation is that 3 senior police officers are a part of this scheme to force the accused to sign the completed pro forma and confession statements. When would the pro forma had been filed out? When would the police have concocted the story contained in the confession? Well, if they've known or arrested Moses Bia in 2019, then Colonel Mboto testified that accused number 1 made corrections when the statement was read back to him. Is this the conduct of someone who has been forced to make a confession? Accused number 2 alleged that he had not had a bath since his arrest. This fact is in the pro forma. The question as we ask is whether the magistrate have sucked this fact out of her thumb. Well, if you can see that someone is hunka-hanka, and you can see that, you know what, this person doesn't look fresh. And he did tell the magistrate that the first thing he told that magistrate when he entered the room, that I haven't taken a bath in days. Can I have a bath? Can I call my family? Oh, and another thing as well with regards to accused number 1 having made corrections according to Colonel Mboto's testimony, where's the proof? Where's the evidence? Where's something solid except for his word? His word. His word is all we have, and it's the word against him and that of the accused. Then Baloyi also pointed out the heart condition noted by magistrate and the doctor. The question is whether this was a mere coincidence. And yet he's saying that he's never had a heart condition. Ms. Cronje gave the document to Ms. Duplessis and not the police. So Ms. Duplessis is the one who's above Ms. Cronje. So she gave the document after the alleged confession to Ms. Duplessis, who's her senior, and not the police. So the question we are asking is, when would the statement have gotten to the police for accused number 2 to be forced to sign it? I hear all of this, but where is the evidence? Where is the movement of it all? Because the word of the police in this case is very questionable. Then Baloyi said the version of the accused ought to be rejected. And Baloyi said evidence shows that police did not influence free will of accused number 1 and 2. So yeah, I'm done, you guys. I'm finished. It's a wrap from me. Mr. Anonymous is tired. He wants to stop the broadcast. So I don't know. I don't know. It's a wrap for me. I tried my best to summarize everything. I hope you guys got everything you need and you are able to follow the case and not get... We are almost there. We're almost there. Don't get tired.
Please like the video. Share the video. As usual. I see Gwelagit is here. Suzam Kaka is here. Elizabeth is here. Raymond is here. Let's see. Mandisa is here. Thank you guys for supporting. Please like the video, share the video. Blessing Mabena is here. I see. Let me see who I haven't called. Just going through this very quickly. Very cold room, this one. Lungsi Lestol is here. See you. Just going down. People are commenting. Some are talking to others. Mpumi is here. It's a very cold house. This is not a friendly house. Let's see. Guys, we're not gonna have calls today. I think it's exhausting as it is now. I think we have deliberated earlier. Unfortunately, not have calls unless you want to sneak in one minute if you call.
You can still shoot your shot if you really want to call. And if you don't, I
Andy
understand.
Somjiko is here. Pel Kumalo, we thank you. Just going through all the comments. Boom is one is here. Doesn't anyone know when was the Chabane? When was the Chabane, or when the Chabane happened by the state? He was at court today as the defense witness. Then, boom, he cannot be a witness.
Testify.
Yeah, that's how it is, man. That's how we are rolling. What makes you tired, Mr. Anonymous? I'm from Kwamlung. That's Colin Love. And yeah, this is like 2 hours already. Let's see. Zanzi, hello. God, everything couldn't go right today. Just hold on a bit.
Just hold on. We are connecting your call so that everyone can hear what you have to say. Hold on a bit. Don't hang up. No.
Yeah, shoot your shots.
Thanks, Samuel.
Yes.
Hi, yes. Usemoyeni manje. Welcome.
Engifuna ukusho nje ukuthi all along besitshela ngo-mastermind. Ngikholwa ukuthi siyamazi mastermind case. Ubaloyi yena mastermind le case. Yonke into yena akufunakala ama-documents, defense funa ama-documents azoza, agcine engafikile, yonke into yeah. Bese-ke ujaji-ke elungisa yonke into-ke if akaboni kodwa nje umastermind wangempela kule case Baloyi.
Yeah.
Kodwa futhi-ke ngibuye ngibe worried nange-defense. I-defense iyinkinga lento ye-legal aid ngoba isiluma kanjani isandla siphakelayo. Kunezinto ey'buye yidlule nje kubona ey'question zile abayibekayo engabe bayazenza obuye ubone ukuthi something ngafuna ukuqamba manje uramasepeli namhlanje ungenze ngayibheki kwenzakalani kuthini yena noma kwabuye kwenzakalani. Kunama-questions amaningi kodwa the main guy hayi Baloyi hayi ibhola lakhe iyalidlala shi.
Yeah.
That's my 2 cents.
Siyabonga kakhulu.
Thank you. At least someone said it.
Yeah, I've been seeing people saying it on comments that they're giving Ramosipi
Side eye.
side eye.
And the caller is saying that sometimes you would question why some of the questions are just slided through and there's not much contesting, there's not much.
Yeah. Pel Kumalo saying we want the truth, Bagiti. Who killed Senzo? Who killed Senzo? Because the people who are behind bars, they didn't kill Senzo. I think that's yes. And then thank you for the update, Mr. Anonymous and Emily. Good night. That's Bailey just joining. I guess you catch up. That's Elizabeth. The mastermind is Baloyi. He didn't kill Senzo, but masterminding the dockets, and that's allegedly yes. And this one, our member, do you think that Meyiwa family we're ever gonna know what happened to Senzo? That's a very difficult one because maybe they have a clue, they just need affirmation. Yes. So, guys, thank you. I saw someone was calling while I was on the call with some. thought that person would call, give them a chance, but all that is said here is alleged.
Is alleged. We'll see each other again tomorrow. It's going to be another long day.
Zanzelo, Sepila Mvelinjani.
I thought you're speaking to anonymous here.
Yes, anonymous.
I don't know, should I speak right away?
Yes.
Yeah, right away.
Oh, okay. Sorry, man, it's my voice and it's night shift, Lana.
Yeah.
I'm in the SAPS. I'm a lieutenant colonel. I'm based in Pumalanga.
Okay.
You see, there is something that is happening, and I have been consulting other members of SAPS who have been in the field for a very long time. I mean, my brother, this thing called cold case unit.
Yeah.
What is that thing? Because we've never heard about that. And you see, when the unit is established, it must be gazetted, it must be legislated. Under what section of the Constitution is that unit operating? I know that there is a cold case, but it is a section where we're not told are being filed. Not a unit whereby it's independent like a directorate, and the only offices available, they are there in Pretoria, and then we only know 4 members of that unit, which is the Brigadier Gininda, Sergeant Makhubo, and Sergeant Mukhane, and the late Sergeant Mabem. Only 4 people operating across the country. And there are no provincial offices of actually, what is that thing? Makhubo, I was listening to Warrant Officer Makhubo today. He was correct to see that no thing called cold case unit. Those guys, I know them. I know Sergeant Mukhane from first hand. I've worked with him before. He's working for crime intelligence. And how do these people get those positions which their colleagues cannot apply for? And how was Gininda appointed? Where is the post where he was interviewed for that post and all those things? You see, this thing is frustrating, but I'm happy because it's my last year in the SAPS. I am moving to private security companies because my brother is very bad. I don't know what to say to you. I don't know how to reveal a lot of things, but all what I'm saying is that, guys, you are doing good to spread our. And lastly, this case of Senzo Meyiwa is having 2 dockets. Yes, I don't know that this presiding officer and Baloyi, how are they operating? At one point, the accused put a version to Gininda that they were taken to a place whereby there are old ATMs that are not used. Judge Rata said, Gininda, do you know where they are dumping ATMs? They are deliberately switching the ATMs. Now, Warrant Officer Makhubo is saying, what did he say? Oh, he said that the minister told him that 40 people will be putting the case. And Rata is saying no. Sir, are you saying 14, the minister appointed 40 investigators? But what is this nonsense, man?
Yeah.
My brother, I'm telling you, I'm working in the family violence and sexual harassment unit. I'm telling you, there are many cases that are not solved today because of this thing. I said there are many cases that are being given to me. I'm not investigating them because I don't want to go to court for things that are happening there in court. How are you going to testify before Judge Rata? Thank you very much, my brother. We'll see.
Thank you. It's nice to hear from the person who works within and sees the same thing. Others that are seeing the holy cow.
Hi there. I just wanted to say one thing. not feeling so passionate today. But for me, it's still going back to the issue of language, which is why the judge keeps interrupting Mngomezulu. Mngomezulu has to ask these questions in English, which is not even his mother tongue, under pressure. And the way he's phrasing these questions is giving a lot of room to Baloyi to actually object. And I wish that Mngomezulu maybe could have some time or, get some assistance, more youngsters.
Zanzi, hello.
I'm really tell you guys.
We're good. How are you?
I'm good, Chief, man. Thanks, guys. You're doing a great job, man.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I want to thank Mngomezulu for what he did today by bringing Warrant Officer Makhubo. Some people will not attach much weight to this evidence that was led by Warrant Officer Makhubo today. You see what he did when he mentioned that there was 40 people investigating that case before they were appointed. If this judge is listening, as he always said, that I listen. Now, from now on going forward, he needs to approach this case with a very serious conscience. Because that proves there was a lot of people who messed up this case. That's when Gininda took the advantage of this guy. He got an opportunity to take the advantage to protect whoever he's protecting. That's when they get an opportunity. Those 40 people who were there before Makhubo and Gininda, they are the ones who messed up this case. From now on, this judge must stop interfering and interjecting everything. He must approach this case with a very consciousness. After this, he must behave like those judges who just keep quiet and write their stuff in court. He needs to be very cautious and stop towing around toys like a spoiled brat there, man. He's there presiding. We are paying him. Those are our tax monies who are paying.
Yeah.
And I believe Mngomezulu did a great job. The way Baloyi was so unsettled to have Makhubo testifying in court, now it raised eyebrows.
Yes,
there are eyebrows.
Yeah.
There is something. Baloyi don't want to see Makhubo in that court. One can imagine why. That's a question we need to ask ourselves.
Yes. No. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks a lot.
I apologize there for the noise, but I hope you guys got everything. Let me just finish this.
Is to do the drudge work and maybe work on the phrasing of the question so that they get the desired result, and maybe spend a little bit, so sometimes he'll ask a question and the answer is yes or no, and then he says continue, for example. And then maybe also give a little bit more thought to what aspects Baloyi is likely, even in ridiculously, to object to in advance, so that he doesn't keep withdrawing, but also maybe has a quick response, but better yet, maybe just work a bit more on rephrasing the questions to get the desired result.
Okay.
That's advice.
That's an advice.
That's good advice.
You're under pressure if you're there, and people don't have the patience they give to
the state.
To the states, they give enough time.
It's not like Sibanda's English was like Baloyi's English. It wasn't the same English.
Right, that's it, Emir.
Okay, let's wrap it up, guys. Thank you for joining us, and to the morning again. Hello, in advance.
Please like the video.
Please like the video as well, and we'll see each other again tomorrow. Yeah, it's another long day.
Always crying.